Hey there, Gemini Ascendant. This is your Ascendant forecast for the week ahead, taking you from Monday, the 1st of December, right the way through to Sunday, the 7th of December, 2025. This is the week of your full moon. You know, this happens once a year. Occasionally, it will happen twice a year, but always around this time of year, there'll be a full moon in Gemini. And this is one of those full moons where it lands in your chart is it really highlights your personal identity, your body, how you feel about yourself, how you look. And it's a time when you really wear your emotions on your sleeve, your heart on your sleeve. And so even if you're trying to hide how you're feeling, people really get it. So what I'm going to be doing with this forecast is pacing you through the week on an aspect by aspect basis rather than a day by day basis. But I'll be describing the kinds of energies coming in and how they might affect you as a Gemini Ascendant. I'm using a Western whole sign tropical model to do this, and I'll show you this in a slide in a minute. If you're new to this channel, by the way, my name's Louisa. Welcome to Feel Good Astrology. Hope you like it, and if you do, please do feel free to like and subscribe. But anyway, let's bring up my slides now. And as ever, I just want to say a quick thank you to all those amazing people that have sponsored my channel and helped me out in a different way. I really, really appreciate you so very much for all of your support. It really makes a big difference to me. Thanks. So these are the two charts I've got. And yeah, when you look at these charts, you know, the first thing I just want to point out is we're starting this week with the moon in the sign of Aries. And then by the end of the week, you'll see that the moon has shifted down into the sign of Cancer and is just about to go into the sign of Leo. Also, during this week, you'll notice that we start the week with Venus right at the start of Sagittarius. And you'll see Mercury here is quite a way still in the sign of Scorpio. By the end of the week, you know, Mercury is getting ready to go into Sagittarius. He's going to be doing that the following week, and Venus has really sort of moved in. There's not so much going on really. Hence, you know, it's only the full moon that I've highlighted. So let's go through this. And yeah, my comment about a whole sign Western tropical forecast is really based on the idea that this chart has one sign per house. You'll see like there's Gemini here in the first house, and it always counts from 9 o'clock if we're looking at this as a clock face. So this is the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, right the way through to the 12th house. And you've got Gemini here. If when you look at your chart, you notice that you've got the symbol for Gemini and also the symbol for Cancer in this first section, then it's also worth listening into the Cancer forecast, because you also have Cancer in your first house as well. And so that will definitely be picked up in that forecast. Anyway, let's head on into this. So the first, there's nothing really to report. No real big planet to planet energies. We do have the conjunction between the moon and Chiron, before the moon moves into the sign of Taurus on the 2nd. And so what you might feel on Monday the 1st is just a little bit sensitive as we get towards the end of the day. This is one of those moments where you might feel a little bit sensitive in terms of your popularity, in terms of how comfortable you feel around new people you don't know that well, in terms of networks and your performance within friendship groups. So you might just feel a little bit sensitive. And then as we're coming into the 2nd, you know, the moon heads into the sign of Taurus, and it's going to be there until Thursday the 4th, the day of the full moon. But from Tuesday, Wednesday, and the beginning of Thursday, the moon is in your 12th house, which is a place where you feel a lot more sleepy, a lot more ready to rest, relax, retreat. You are quite sensitive, but not necessarily that upfront about it. So if you're feeling things, you'll try and keep it hidden to yourself. You won't want to make great big declarations of how you're feeling. It's a time when you might be feeling a bit moody, but not realize that you're also highly, highly intuitive. And so you might put down your intuition. You might describe it as, oh, I'm just sensitive. But actually, you know, there is an awakening of your energies during this time. Now, during this time as well, there's Venus making an exact sextile to Pluto. And so Pluto is currently in your 9th house, and you'll see that Venus is in your 7th house making an exact sextile. Now, this energy is really quite helpful. I really like it. If you're in an existing relationship, you might feel suddenly really quite inspired and want to take some kind of transformative trip or do something that's going to transform your relationship and help you get back into your body a little bit within your relationship. I see Venus and Pluto working together to calm the senses. Venus, she's all about relationships and relatedness, but she's also about the senses, how you see things, hear things, taste things, touch things. She's all about the senses. And so I do think you're getting stronger in your physical sensations. And of course, that's also related to the people you're around. So yes, you might be a little bit more intuitive, a little bit more laid back, a little bit more quiet. But, if you've got someone that you love and really trust around you, it could also be a great time for you to, like go on a sensuous adventure somewhere. So I like that. As we're coming into Thursday, that's when the moon heads into your 1st house. And this is a time when you're still feeling very sensitive. However, now it's really obvious. People can really read you like a book. Even if you're trying to hide it, it's a little bit difficult. And on this particular day, there's also the full moon in Gemini. Now, this is interesting because you've got the moon here and the sun exactly opposite. So you're feeling quite sensitive and quite emotionally charged. And it appears that your partner or your best friends are actually in really good spirits. And they're looking at you going, oh God, what's up with them? What's going on there? And so you might feel even more ostracized or might feel a little bit more separate from them because they seem to have their life sorted out. And yet it feels like you're the one that is causing the problems, or you're the one that's overly sensitive and really, really feeling things. One thing you might consider is that actually there's a bit of a projection thing going on. Full moons are absolutely rife for projections, but you might notice that the calm people around you are kind of using you a little bit to make themselves feel a bit calmer. They'll point out where you might be a little bit nervous, a little bit insecure. And so you might take it really personally because the moon's in your 1st house. But in actual fact, once you hook into that energy that they might be saying, oh, you seem a little jumpy today. The moment they say that to you, it's almost like any jumpiness that's in them gets transferred to you. So one thing to bear in mind around the time of the full moon on the 4th, that's Thursday the 4th, is to not take everything that's given to you as correct, as true. Don't let it land. If it doesn't suit you for it to land, then just don't take it, don't claim it, pass it back, and I don't know how you might do it, but, get into a conversation about it. I mean, this is a day when you might feel quite charged and quite defensive. So I do think it's important to consider how you say it. Because then, obviously it's a bit of a difficult one because if you say, actually, I'm not jumpy, they'll say, oh, you're defensive too. So you got to really watch it. Now, on this day as well, the sun and the moon are also in square to the nodes, meaning that old past patterns might be coming up. And so they say, the people around you might say, oh, you seem really sensitive today, like that time. Do you remember when you threw the picnic across the park or something like that? I actually did that earlier this year. I had a major tantrum and threw a picnic right across the park. Not my finest moment. But anyway, you might sort of get one of those little reminders, those little jabbed remarks about a time when you've lost it or you've been slightly under par or slightly emotional as they notice it. Now, one of the things that's important to remember with this is all the time you stay in that past feeling, it's going to be very difficult for you to move beyond that and to feel quite fine or feel like you're actually at the top of the game or to feel like you're an authority in your own right. It feels like quite a sensitive day around the time of the full moon to reclaim your authority or to feel like a grown up, to feel like you have a say in how you're being and a say in how people think about you. Now, one thing that I would not caution you, but just remind you, if you feel a little bit of a numpty, if you feel that you're being taken advantage of, or if you feel like your image, the idea of who you are, is just being ever so slightly manipulated by people who don't want to own their own sensitivity, then you might say, you might consider what's really going on here and how is my power moving away from me. To me, this is a time to step into your power gracefully, and to recognize that actually you're a powerful being, and powerful beings do have some big emotions sometimes. So, if that conversation was playing again, you might say, actually, I am really feeling quite sensitive today, and I'm really sensitive to the power around me. I feel really empowered by life. I feel really strong, and I feel very certain in my footing right now. So you could absolutely kind of swerve with it, almost like Neo dodging bullets, and say, no, I do feel sensitive to the power around me, to the natural feeling of flow, to my feelings of magnificence. And yes, it feels great. Thank you for noticing. That's an even better one, because then you're really, really claiming it. So I think it could be a very, very powerful day, but it could also be one that you feel a little bit wrong-footed by. Then on Friday the 5th, the sun is still in this nodal pattern. And again, you might need to reclaim your authority quite a bit on that day. But Mars makes a trine to Chiron. Now, Mars in a trine to Chiron, I'm going the wrong way there. Here's Chiron over here. Mars is you taking action and feeling really quite empowered to fix something that's happened, and to feel like a master when it comes to your friends, your networks, and your connections, like how you connect loads of different people together. And so to me, another way of expressing your power is to enjoy the connection process. Think, how can I help somebody with something? Now, one thing I would recommend is, obviously, don't do it without somebody's permission. Is nothing worse than someone saying, oh, I've hooked you up with such and such because you said you were like feeling whatever it is, X, Y, or Z. You might say, hey, I know somebody that was talking about something and it made me think about you. So kind of link it back, and don't fully claim it, but make those suggestions, make those connections. This could be a really powerful day where you're helping the people around you to feel good, whilst also feeling much stronger in your ability to link people up and make things work. So I do think there's a real sort of social change going on right now for you, really reminiscent of the fact that we've got a lot of planets in Sagittarius in your 7th house. Now, as we come into the weekend, the moon is going into the sign of Cancer. Your energy is really shifting towards your ability to bring money in, to pay your way, to feel really like a card carrying adult that can provide for themselves. And there is sensitivity about what you're providing for yourself, and my recommendations would be to consider nurturing yourself in some way, acknowledging how great you are, acknowledging the opportunities that you create for yourself. And it's these two lovely energies. The moon is going to come into a conjunction with Jupiter on Saturday the 6th and Sunday the 7th. So the moon is going to connect with Jupiter and make a really lovely, gorgeous trine to Mercury, and also a trine to Saturn. This is going to be just really, really strong. Now, one of the things, the reason I mention this, this is a really sort of like tender, caring, nourishing, slow a bit down. Enjoy how amazing you are at connecting and making social things work for you. That's absolutely something I'd recommend. But since autumn, there's been a pattern that's playing out. And by the end of next week, that pattern is really moving on. So whatever you've been learning since the end of August, let's say, one of the things that you've been learning about, I think, is to have confidence in your social your social abilities, your ability to connect people, to prompt people, to listen deeply with people, to pick up on clues. And so your social thing is a really, really strong thing that you've been learning, and it can absolutely be applied to your business and however it is that you're working and earning a living. And so this is the last time that you really get to perfect it in this month. From next month, the energy is going to be very different. There's going to be a different requirement, I would say, that you're working on, a different thing that you're learning, let's say. So yeah, that about wraps it up. From start to finish, I would say the second is about settling your senses, and enjoying some sensuality with your partner in an adventurous and open-minded way, whilst also retreating a little bit. Then in the middle, we've got this sort of clarity and illumination at time of the full moon, but absolutely feeling a bit sensitive. You could come into your own mastery at that point. And then Saturday and Sunday, the 6th and the 7th, you're creating opportunities for yourself by recognizing your amazing abilities. So hope that's helpful to you. Now, if you've enjoyed the way I read this chart, and you'd like me to deep dive into your own chart or work with you to help you decode your birth chart, to learn about astrology, to learn about yourself, and to kind of take it apart, deconstruct it, and then put it back together again, then consider working with me. I've got my membership on School, and in 2026 I'm going to be doing 3 lessons a week on there, plus daily forecasts, Monday to Friday, that is, and also weekly forecasts. There's a lot going on there. But I also will be working with a select group of people on an astrology mentorship program. And if you want to meet regularly to decode and unpack your chart, then that might be a great opportunity for you. However you choose to go on this, all you need to do is invite me to work with you. My details are below in the show notes, but also on my channel page. So have a wonderful week ahead, Gemini, and catch up with you all soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.